For decades, American motorcycle brands held their ground with heavy frames, big engines, and even bigger price tags. But 2026 is shaping up to be the year that dominance finally breaks. Chinese manufacturers have studied the US riding culture in silence and are now rolling out motorcycles that deliver more power, better comfort, and smarter engineering at prices the American market can't ignore. The gap is closing fast, and if US brands don't adapt, they might not survive the next decade. Watch till the end, because the bikes coming up next could change what you ride, what you pay, and what you expect forever. Number 7. GWM Souo S 2000. There are motorcycles that aim for attention, and then there are motorcycles built with the kind of ambition that tries to rewrite the definition of a long-distance machine entirely. The 2000 steps into that rare second category. It is a towering, imposing presence, the kind of motorcycle that makes seasoned riders pause because it represents something bold and unexpected from a country most Americans once dismissed as incapable of building a serious touring platform. Instead of following familiar formulas, the 2000 arrives with a level of engineering that feels more like a declaration, one that says the long-held balance of power in the touring world is no longer guaranteed. Riders who have spent decades behind the bars of heavyweight American touring motorcycles understand what it takes to move a machine of real size across long stretches of highway. And the 2000 seems built to compete right in that arena rather than circling around it. Riders with years of road behind them know that a touring motorcycle proves its worth far beyond what the numbers suggest. Real judgment comes from how steady it feels at highway pace, how confidently the chassis carries a full load, and whether the engine keeps its temperament during long stretches of open country. The 2000 brings an uncommon mix of size, balance, and smoothness, built around a flat 8 layout that naturally cuts down vibration and keeps the ride calm hour after hour. That gentle character pays off on cross-state trips where lesser machines begin to wear down their riders. Combined with a broad fairing and a tall windscreen that channels air cleanly around the cockpit, it eases shoulder and neck strain and maintains a relaxed posture even as the miles stack up. Another detail that speaks directly to experienced riders is the overall balance of the motorcycle at slow speeds. Heavy touring motorcycles can become unwieldy in parking lots, fuel stations, and roadside pull-offs, but early assessments suggest the 2000 carries its weight predictably. The seating position creates a natural upright posture, allowing the rider to stay relaxed while still maintaining clear control over the large chassis. The broad seat offers support across long days, while passenger accommodations remain substantial enough for two-up touring without robbing the motorcycle of stability. The integrated luggage system is another welcome feature, offering real storage capacity rather than decorative design. The 2000 signals a shift that many riders have sensed, but few expected to see so clearly. For decades, heavyweight touring motorcycles belonged almost exclusively to American and Japanese brands. Now a new contender steps forward with confidence, aiming to meet the needs of riders who value distance, stability, and power without compromise. Power comes from a 1999 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled flat 8 engine producing roughly 150 horsepower and delivering about 140 pound-feet of torque. Stopping power is handled by dual front discs paired with a single rear disc, all governed through a fully expanded anti-lock braking system. Suspension duties are managed by an electronically controlled front fork working alongside an adaptive rear setup that adjusts damping in real time. Wet weight sits close to 992 pounds depending on trim, and seat height measures approximately 29.1 inches. Pricing guidance places the starting figure near $30,700 in its domestic market. As the 2000 reshapes what a touring motorcycle can be, let's turn toward a machine built for real-world adventure. If you're getting value from this breakdown, hit like, make sure you're subscribed, and share your thoughts below. Your perspective keeps these discussions grounded, and it helps push this channel to riders who actually care about what's changing in the motorcycle world. Number 6. Lifan KPT 450. There is a growing shift among riders who have spent decades trusting heavyweight touring machines to carry them across long stretches of American highway. Many of those riders are beginning to notice how mid-sized adventure machines are stepping into a role once reserved only for larger, more expensive bikes. The appeal is not in flashy styling or corporate promises. It is in the simple question older riders ask themselves every season. Which motorcycle feels good to ride, is easy to manage, and will hold up when the miles start adding up again? The KPT approaches that question with a steady hand, offering a level of practicality that catches the attention of riders who value comfort, torque, and predictability as much as they once valued chrome and displacement. Specs can tell you the basics, but seasoned riders look beyond the numbers to the feeling a motorcycle gives once the pavement turns uneven or when the road carries on longer than planned. The KPT offers the kind of upright ergonomics that reduce strain on the lower back and shoulders, which is something riders with decades behind them immediately appreciate. Power delivery from the single-cylinder engine is smooth through the lower and mid-range, avoiding the jumpiness that some newer machines fall into. The result is a bike that feels predictable on winding back roads and steady on straight shots across open plains. It does not try to mimic the deep rumble that older riders associate with traditional touring machines, but it brings a calm consistency that makes long-distance travel easier than expected for a mid-sized motorcycle. What stands out most to riders who have lived through several generations of touring bikes is how manageable the KPT feels when navigating slow-speed turns, parking lots, or uneven gravel pull-offs. Many older riders know exactly how tiring a full-sized machine can be in those moments. The KPT lightens that load without stripping away the sense of control and stability they rely on. The seating position allows for natural posture, and the narrower frame helps the rider stay connected to the machine without feeling boxed in. For riders who are no longer looking to wrestle with a 1,000-pound motorcycle, but still want something that feels substantial, the KPT finds a welcome middle ground. Beneath its practical frame sits a liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine displacing 449 cubic centimeters, producing nearly 25 horsepower and around 17 pound-feet of torque. Dry weight settles at roughly 463 pounds, paired with a seat height near 31.7 inches. Most markets place its price close to $4,000. And as capable as this machine is for everyday travel and long-haul comfort, the next motorcycle in this countdown brings a sharper edge, blending modern design with a surprising dose of old-school practicality that appeals to riders who know exactly what a dependable machine should feel like. If you ride for feel and control, my trusted gear and accessories are listed clearly in the description below. Number 5. Zontes GK 350. There is a certain kind of motorcycle that does not need a long introduction because its purpose becomes clear the moment a rider looks at it. The GK steps into that role with a stance that feels honest and stripped of pretense. Built for riders who have lived through enough model cycles to know when a machine is trying too hard. What draws attention here is not excess power or exaggerated styling, but a balance between modern engineering and the kind of straightforward design older riders often appreciate. It is a reminder that a mid-sized motorcycle can still feel substantial without becoming a handful, and that simplicity can coexist with capability when a manufacturer chooses function over flash. Numbers like these tell a straightforward story, yet riders who have logged decades on long American highways know that real value is not found only on a specification sheet. What matters is how a motorcycle behaves in the kinds of conditions that test both the machine and the rider. The GK brings a steady low-end pull that makes city riding calm and highway transitions smooth. It does not surge or buck when the throttle first opens, which older riders immediately notice and appreciate. the upright position offers natural reach and relaxed shoulder angles, making longer stretches feel manageable even for those who have spent years wrestling with heavier touring models. The single-cylinder engine carries a steady rhythm that avoids unnecessary harshness, giving the GK a measured personality that does not tire the rider on longer routes. Where the GK surprises many riders is in the way it handles changing road surfaces. The lighter frame, combined with the tuned suspension, keeps the motorcycle planted without feeling rigid. This balance helps riders navigate back roads, older pavement, or gravel approaches to fuel stops with confidence. It also reduces the kind of low-speed strain that often becomes more noticeable with age, especially when maneuvering a heavier motorcycle during tight turns or parking lot navigation. Riders who have long relied on heavyweight machines often comment on how refreshing it feels to pilot something that responds quickly without sacrificing stability. The narrower profile and comfortable seat design add to this sense of control, helping the motorcycle feel like an extension of the rider, rather than a challenge to manage. This is not a motorcycle built to imitate past legends or chase after extreme performance. Instead, it reflects a design philosophy rooted in practicality, comfort, and the steady reliability that older riders value. It stands as proof that a mid-sized machine can carry itself with confidence, while offering a riding experience grounded in comfort and purpose. At the heart of this lightweight roadster is a liquid-cooled single-cylinder unit measuring 348 cubic centimeters, generating about 38.5 horsepower and close to 24 pound-feet of torque. Curb weight hovers around 414 pounds, and seat height stands near 31.7 inches. Typical pricing starts at roughly $4,800. The next motorcycle continues this theme, but raises the stakes with a design aimed at riders who want strength, range, and a deeper sense of long-distance capability. Number 4. Kove 800X. Rally. There is a certain kind of motorcycle that immediately signals its purpose the moment a rider studies its frame and stance. The 800X does exactly that. It speaks to riders who have lived through decades of long-distance travel, back-road detours, and the kind of rugged terrain that tests both skill and patience. Nothing about this machine feels hesitant or compromised. Instead, it carries the confidence of a motorcycle built for real miles rather than showroom admiration. Riders who prefer substance over marketing will recognize that the 800X aims to deliver dependable strength in a segment often filled with unnecessary frills. The character here is straightforward, a tool built for riders who still appreciate honest machinery. Riders who have spent years on heavyweight touring machines often look for something more manageable, without sacrificing the feeling of power and control they rely on. The 800X offers that balance with an upright riding position that keeps shoulders relaxed and knees at a comfortable angle. Its torque delivery brings steady pull without abrupt surges, allowing riders to maintain traction and confidence on everything from gravel patches to deteriorated pavement. Many older riders appreciate how the engine feels composed rather than frantic, maintaining a predictable rhythm across a wide range of speeds. This calm strength reduces both physical stress and mental fatigue, especially during long days when the road seems never-ending. The design of the 800X favors riders who understand that true capability has little to do with flashy accessories. The frame and suspension work together to provide a planted feel even when wind pushes hard across an open stretch. Steering remains steady without feeling heavy, and slow speed control stays impressively manageable for a machine in this class. Riders who have grown tired of wrestling with bulky engines and excessive weight will find the balance refreshing. The motorcycle's slim profile also helps with mounting, dismounting, and maneuvering through tight areas, all of which become increasingly important as riders prefer comfort and practicality over unnecessary bulk. Adventure-focused engineering brings a liquid-cooled parallel twin of 799 cubic centimeters, producing close to 95 horsepower and nearly 59 pound-feet of torque. Curb weight remains impressively low at about 388 pounds, matched to a tall seat height of roughly 35 inches. Pricing usually ranges between $9,000 and $10,000 depending on trim. What makes the 800X especially compelling is how it allows riders to reclaim a sense of freedom without the compromises often found in larger touring platforms. It offers range, stability, and resilience in a package that remains accessible without feeling stripped down. This combination makes it an appealing option for riders who want something strong enough for ambitious routes, yet comfortable enough for quiet weekend travel. The next entry in this countdown builds on that idea, offering a machine that blends long-haul character with a muscular presence aimed at riders who still appreciate a bold, commanding stance. Number 3. Benda LFC 700. There are motorcycles built to blend in, and then there are machines that make a rider stop in his tracks, because the design carries a presence that does not feel borrowed from anything else on the road. The LFC takes the second path without apology. It is long, low, and unmistakably muscular, speaking directly to riders who spent their best years on machines that carried real weight and real attitude. For older riders who still appreciate a commanding stance and a frame that looks like it was carved rather than molded, the LFC offers a visual confidence that is rare in today's market. It does not pretend to be a touring bike or a sport machine. Instead, it leans into its identity as a power cruiser built for riders who enjoy a strong footprint and a steady pull. Riders who have spent decades behind handlebars know that numbers alone never tell the entire story. What matters is how a motorcycle behaves once the pavement begins to roll beneath it. The LFC delivers power with a smooth, steady rise rather than a sudden burst, which many experienced riders prefer. The inline 4 does not chase the deep rumble associated with traditional American V-twins. Yet, it offers a refined and reassuring tone that carries through the mid-range. This characteristic gives the motorcycle a calm sense of authority rather than aggression. For riders who no longer need to prove anything with raw speed, the LFC offers a feeling of measured strength that suits long, relaxed stretches of road. The low seat height makes the motorcycle approachable, even for riders who have grown cautious about balancing taller machines. Its long, stretched stance provides stability in straight-line travel, and the weight carries low enough to avoid the top-heavy sensation that plagues many modern cruisers. Riders who remember older power cruisers will appreciate how naturally the LFC settles into a groove at highway speeds, maintaining composure without asking the rider to fight wind or vibration. While the aggressive styling may suggest a harsh ride, the suspension softens most imperfections well enough that older riders can stay comfortable without sacrificing control. What makes this motorcycle stand out is the way it blends muscular presence with a welcoming ride. The handlebars reach naturally, the frame feels supportive rather than overbearing, and the overall experience leans toward effortless cruising with a hint of sport-minded confidence. For riders who have spent decades navigating the evolving landscape of American roads, the LFC offers something familiar yet refreshing. A cruiser that looks bold, rides steady, and respects the needs of riders who value comfort as much as style. Muscular cruiser styling hides a surprisingly refined, liquid-cooled inline 4 engine displacing 676 cubic centimeters, outputting nearly 82 horsepower and close to 44 pound-feet of torque. Wet weight settles at around 540 pounds, with a seat height positioned at about 27.4 inches. In most regions, pricing begins between $7,500 and $8,000. The next motorcycle in this countdown takes that sense of capability and pushes it further by focusing on refined touring power and a broader range of long-distance performance. If you want to stay ahead of every major shift hitting the motorcycle industry, make sure you're subscribed. There's more coming, and each new release reshapes the road in ways most riders never hear about until it is too late. Number 2. Voge 900 DSX. There is a moment in every rider's life when a machine from outside the traditional circle forces a second look, and the 900 SX is exactly that kind of disruptor. It is the kind of adventure tourer that steps into a crowded field and refuses to hide behind old assumptions about where power or refinement should come from. What riders notice first is not the badge, but the posture, a tall, steady presence that signals long days on the highway and enough composure to keep its head when the pavement runs out. The 900 SX carries itself with a sense of purpose, not flash. And that alone earns it a place on this list for riders who weigh a motorcycle by how it feels after a full day in the saddle, rather than how it photographs. This is where it separates itself from the usual expectations surrounding imported adventure bikes. Spend time around the 900 SX, and it becomes clear that its designers focused on capability before ornament. The frame sits tall enough for visibility, but low enough to keep the center of gravity manageable when fully loaded. Riders who have spent years on domestic or Japanese tourers may be surprised by how well the machine settles into a long sweep or digs into a steady climb without drama. The power delivery remains smooth, and the torque curve feels honest. No sudden spikes, no hidden lag, and no gimmicks masquerading as performance. That quality matters for older riders who value predictable throttle response over clever marketing phrases. Another area where the 900 SX earns respect is its road discipline. The suspension tuning keeps the ride firm without crossing into discomfort, striking a balance that adventure riders know is rare. It handles rough pavement, washboard surfaces, and broken secondary roads without rattling itself apart, and more importantly, without rattling its rider into fatigue. While some machines chase softness at the cost of control or stiffness at the cost of comfort, this one manages to hold the middle ground with maturity. Output is generated by an 895 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled parallel twin engine, producing around 95 horsepower and roughly 70 pound-feet of torque. Braking is supplied through dual Brembo front discs, supported by a single rear disc, within a fully expanded, dual-channel anti-lock braking system. Suspension uses a fully adjustable inverted front fork, matched to an adjustable rear monoshock. Curb weight registers at about 474 pounds, while seat height stands near 32.5 inches. Market pricing typically begins around $10,000. $900 depending on region. On long rides, the 900 SX gives off the steady confidence of a machine built for real mileage, not showroom display. It feels planted at highway speeds, resists crosswinds better than expected, and holds its line with quiet confidence through extended turns. Riders who measure a motorcycle by the miles they can cover in a day will find that this one belongs in a conversation usually dominated by bigger names. It may not carry decades of heritage, but heritage has never turned a wheel. Engineering does. And last but not least, number 1. CF Moto Ibex 800S. There are motorcycles built to make an impression in a showroom. And then there are motorcycles built to earn respect out on the open road. The 800 ES belongs in that second category, offering the kind of balance and confidence that riders who have spent decades behind a windshield immediately recognize. It does not rely on flash, gimmicks, or oversized claims. Instead, it brings a steady and dependable nature that appeals to riders who value long-distance comfort, predictable handling, and an engine that pulls with calm authority. For anyone who has spent years crossing state lines on heavyweight touring machines, the 800 ES presents a different kind of strength, one rooted in practical engineering and refined road manners, rather than excess weight. Riders who understand what it takes to stay comfortable through a full day of travel will appreciate the way this motorcycle carries itself once the wheels start moving. The seating position remains upright without forcing the rider's back or shoulders into an uncomfortable lean. The handlebar reach feels natural, offering enough leverage to navigate twistier sections without demanding unnecessary effort. The mid-range strength of the parallel twin brings a confident pull during highway passing and steep grade climbs. Yet the power delivery remains smooth enough to prevent fatigue on long stretches. This blend of predictability and capability is one of the reasons older riders often comment on how approachable the 800S feels compared to the larger touring machines they spent much of their riding life managing. Wind protection, which becomes more important with age and accumulated miles, is handled well by the fairing and screen design. Airflow stays clean across the helmet area, cutting down on turbulence that can lead to neck strain after hours behind the bars. The seat offers enough width and support to keep the hips balanced without feeling overly firm, and the narrow center section helps riders plant their feet comfortably when coming to a stop. These details, while seemingly small, accumulate into a riding experience that reduces the physical toll of long-distance travel. Riders who have grown tired of wrestling with a 1,000-pound machine in tight spaces will also appreciate the manageable weight of the 800ES, especially in parking lots or uneven roadside pull-offs, where confidence and control matter most. Even during slow-speed maneuvers or awkward turns, the bike maintains a calm, predictable feel that reassures riders who value stability over unnecessary complexity on every mile of the journey. Touring refinement is powered by a liquid-cooled parallel twin of 799 cubic centimeters, pushing out 94 horsepower and nearly 57 pound-feet of torque. Wet weight is held to about 462 pounds, complemented by a seat height of roughly 32.5 inches. Typical starting price lands around $9,500. What stands out most to seasoned riders is the way this motorcycle blends real-world usability with thoughtful engineering. The frame remains stable during crosswinds. The suspension smooths out rough pavement without feeling vague, and the overall ride quality encourages longer days rather than shortening them. The 800S is not trying to replace the deep tradition of heavyweight touring machines. Instead, it offers a practical alternative for riders who want to keep exploring without carrying the burden of excess weight and size. It provides capability, comfort, and control in a package that respects the needs of riders who have spent a lifetime on the road. And that wraps up today's breakdown of the Chinese motorcycles positioned to shake the entire US market by 2026. Whether you agree, disagree, or you're somewhere in between, your voice matters here more than ever. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me which bike surprised you the most, and whether you think American brands can still fight back. If you got value from this video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It helps this channel reach more riders who actually care about where the motorcycle world is heading. Stay sharp, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.